about how I study, because you guys have seen me study, you've seen my little study vlogs, but I thought I'd show you guys like what I actually use and what I do to study. So I do have like a little revision structure that I always write out. It depends on different subjects, like languages I study differently, maths, but for the most part does stay the same. So I want to show you guys and tell you guys what I do. So starting off at like the very base level is making notes and flashcards. So I usually do make my flashcards online, mainly just because sometimes it's easier to have the online ones, because I pretty much always have my phone with me wherever I go, and sometimes when I go out I prefer to just be able to be like, oh, I need to do some biology revision, let me just click through my flashcards and do that. And you can find some really good ones on Quizlet. Save My Exams, which I'll talk about a little bit in a second, and Gizmo AI, which is what I mainly use, but they have like a memory learn feature, stuff like that, like it's really good, and I'll talk about that in a second as well. But also talking about notes as well, you can use your notes from your classes. However, I sometimes feel that if you look on your specification, which you can find really easily if you just type your exam board like AQA, GCSE or A-level, IB, English specification, it'll pretty much be the first one that comes off. It's like a massive document of all the specification items in there. It's really good and useful. I have it printed out. I actually asked ChatGPT to make me more like a simplified one so I can just tick it off as I go. I don't have that with me right now, but I have folders of those subjects. But some teachers I noticed don't always teach everything that's on the specification. So what I do is I look through my notes and I make like a list of all the notes that we've done for like a certain topic. It's good to do this like when you finish the topic, like inheritance, variation, evolution. Once I've finished that topic, I will look at that and be like, oh, I've done blah blah, but I missed meiosis, and then I'll go back and take notes on that. So the best way I use notes or like make notes is I use YouTube most of the time. YouTube's completely free. You can go on there, you can find videos. There's like Cognito's really good. Not Save My Exams, but the Mr. Science teacher, the science guy. I think you guys know what I'm talking about. But he's really good as well, and making like short videos that basically just explain the entire point. And I also use Save My Exams. Now, Save My Exams has to be bought. However, you can do a free trial, like not a free trial, but like you can click on 5 things a day on there. So like say you're studying English, you could do 5 different English topics in one day realistically. However, I can understand that can be really annoying, and they do give away free accounts every month, so you can always apply for one of those. There is a free trial, like I know that it was like a month free trial or something at the time, and I did that like the month before my mocks, and then that helped me. But recently I was able to get it like for a year for my GCSEs. But if you don't have it, it's really not the big of a deal. There's note-taking things everywhere. Like Gizmo AI, Quizlet's free for flashcards. Honestly, you can find stuff realistically anywhere online for free, so don't stress too much if you can't use Save My Exams. They do also have on their flashcards, which is why I said I'll talk about it later. So then I think after that is really memorizing all the stuff and learning it. So what I use to learn it is Gizmo AI. So I use this mainly because I find it really easy to learn stuff on there. Like I just need stuff repeated in my mind, and then I remember it really easily. So I use that to learn it, and then I also use it to memorize stuff as well. So yeah, that's mainly what I use. And then once I feel like I've learned most of the topic and like memorized most of the topic, I then go into flashcards. So I use my Save My Exam ones. Quizlet, they have a whole section with GCSE flashcards for different subjects, exam boards, and there's like a billion people online that have probably uploaded something about your exam board for you to find, and honestly it's brilliant. Like I personally love using it. I post a lot of my own stuff. You can even, I've done it before, I've asked ChatGPT to make flashcards for a certain topic and just copy and pasted them into Quizlet. It is really good and it is worth it 100%. So I would 100% recommend it to anyone that wants to use it. And Save My Exams has their own flashcards as well. And then once on a lot of them, not on Gizmo AI, but definitely Quizlet and Save My Exams, they have a feature where you can tick if you got it right or cross it if you got it wrong. Once I feel like I've learned most of those, I then go on to Seneca. Now Seneca is also completely free. You have to have an account, which is really easy to set up. If you're underage, you have to have a parent's email attached. But obviously just ask your parents, I'm sure they're not going to say no. Obviously your carer or guardian as well, or literally just an adult realistically that wants to do it for you. But yeah, then I go on there. Basically they have like a bunch of learning lessons on there, pretty much like fill in the gap, all that sort of stuff, like free choices, blah blah blah. I don't know, I kind of like it because I feel like if I know the answer to fill in the gap without there being like an option, like I have to type it out myself, I feel like I learned the topic like pretty well. And it's so easy to do. They take like 20 minutes, like for like the whole topic. It really doesn't take long at all. They also have exam questions as well that you can practice, and I really like using their calculations practice feature because obviously, especially for physics, I feel like the calculations can be really long and sometimes you forget how to do them or forget how to change them around, but you can learn it all on there. Like it will give you the equation, because obviously for the 2026 exams we get given the equations, but after that you guys won't. So I think it's a perfect place to learn them and then practice them as well, and practice exam questions for them and practice having to change them around. So then next, if you have Save My Exams, use Save My Exams because they offer a lot of practice questions that AI can mark for you, or they have the mark scheme answers for. I don't know, some people like that a lot more than others, but I personally really like it. Then you can have like targeted exam practice as well, like say you really struggled on cell biology, you can go back on that and just learn that. It's really easy. And then there's also like past exam papers on there as well. But what I personally use, not because I don't like Save My Exams, but because I personally have always used it before I had Save My Exams, was Physics and Math Tutor. Now, however, they don't always have, so it's mainly for triple students because they have physics, biology, and chemistry, and they're like the triple topics. But as a combined student, you can learn them, and it will say on the questions if it is triple, so just don't do those ones. But basically, they have like for certain topics, like if I want, I'm using inheritance and variation and evolution. If I clicked on that, it would give me questions based on inheritance. They give me like 4 or 5 like sheets of like mark schemes and then the answers as well, and like evolution, variation, like a ton of different questions and all that, and past exam questions in a paper on the whole topic for me to revise. They also have like mind maps, and they have flashcards of their own. I feel like sometimes they can be a little bit long and a lot to go through, so I wouldn't always use them, but they can be helpful. They have recently added computer science as well, OCR, which is really good for GCSE students because OCR can sometimes be hard to study for. And they have maths and English, lit and language as well. I think they have a few other A-level topics as well. I'm not 100% sure. You have to search it up yourself, but I think it's a really, really good tool. And another place for past exam papers is Exam.moo, sorry. And they literally have every single past paper exam I think you could possibly find on the internet, and that's really brilliant. Sometimes their website updates quite a lot because they're like adding new past papers and stuff like that, but for the majority of the time it is always there. And they literally have every single subject. That they have like Arabic GCSE, and I take Japanese, there's Japanese GCSE on there. Like it is really, really, really helpful. And then yeah, I think that's like one of my last ones to really say. That's mainly what I do for studying, just go over those a couple times. Languages, I definitely use more flashcards, and like definitely videos for like the certain topics, and if I really don't understand something then I will spend longer on it. I think that's one thing that you definitely should do, like look at the topics you struggle with and then focus your exam practice on that. But for the most part, that's pretty much what I do for practice for exams. Like the night before exam, I do Seneca practice or practice questions, physics math tutor practice questions and flashcards, and then the morning of I mainly just use flashcards this video and it helps you in the future to find those resources and make your own study session and stuff like that. But I really wish you luck with any tests or exams you have coming up. And I really hope you enjoyed this video. So, bye!